Evening, everyone. Welcome to our March 27th workshop. We are entering an executive session first with the village attorney to discuss the employment history of an individual, to get an update on possible litigation, and to discuss proposed lease of property where disclosure would substantially affect value. May I have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Please. There's one person in the waiting room. Hi, welcome back. We have been in executive session. I made a motion to exit executive session. Trustee Starbuck seconded, and we had a unanimous vote to leave. MJ, thank you for being patient and waiting for us to come out of executive session. A few quick announcements. Water hydrants will be flushed starting the week of April 1st. It'll happen during regular business hours and will begin at the east end of the system, the uphill side of the village, and make its way down toward the riverfront. And as the crews make their way down, you may experience water discoloration and a temporary reduction in pressure. It should not take long. And you can clear this discoloration by running the cold water for a few minutes. Usually get a few phone calls about that in process. Second announcement, the first yard waste pickup is April 11th. And then we're on track with every 2 weeks after that. And lastly, just to remind everyone that our partnership with NIMTIC, the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, the survey is still open on transportation improvements in the village, and the public workshop that NIMTIC will be hosting is tentatively scheduled for April 2nd at 7 p.m. And as soon as the flyers are available, we'll send them out. We will, if people need a place to get on Zoom, if they can't get on Zoom at home, it will be Zoom based, but we will open Village Hall if needed, and the deputy clerk will operate the Zoom here.
April 2nd.
April 22nd.
Okay.
Monday, April 22nd. Any other announcements? Okay. Opportunity to add or modify an agenda item. I would like to add a termite contract. So I make a motion to add a termite discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Board business. The first item is Resolution 9, 2024, authorizing the mayor to enter into contract for the sale of real property adjacent to 133 and 135 Main Street. You have a packet in front of you. We, in September, as a board, agreed to move forward with selling this parcel. I don't know where my packet went. Thank you. So in front of you, this is the building that Wild was in. It was purchased by an LLC. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Shavirian. It's a local resident partners. The porch, the stone steps, and some of actually both the stone steps and the wooden entrance with the brick face sit on village property. They would like to acquire that village property so that they can proceed with their plans that will go before planning, zoning, and HDRB. Yes, these are the drawings that are before the zoning right now. So it will combine into a conceptual. They're not finished yet, obviously, but combine into a single porchway like other yes, other properties on Main Street. And it also, you don't have that level drop. But to do that, they need to acquire that parcel. We have plenty of precedent for selling parcels along Main Street, and both getting that square footage on the tax roll and also reducing our liability because we don't own the porch anymore. Discussion. And I have questions for John about our first step. Well, is there any discussion?
No, I think that stoop is totally dangerous and I don't want to own it.
Okay, I found my tax. So our first step is the short environmental assessment form. John, my questions for you were, you prepared the short environmental assessment form.
Yeah, there's some blanks that should have been filled in.
That's what my question was going to be. Okay, so how do we need to go through these with you as you fill them in?
No, I mean, I can just go with the description, so
Yeah.
it is a sale of land, it's 312 square feet. So the form that was created, a lot of it, the answers are already put in there. But there are a couple that I need to kind of fill in, which I will fill in right now, if you want to give me a minute, and then we can kind of go over them. We come back to it?
We can move this
Yeah.
down the agenda and then come back.
And then-
Okay, sure. Thank you, Aaron, for the recommendation. It's a good one. Next, always. Great news. Last week, Larry and I, the officer in charge, and I met with two candidates for parking enforcement officers. They are both students in the BOCES criminal justice program, and they do parking enforcement on the campus. They're both interested in careers in law enforcement and are very eager to be parking officers in the village. They're available starting right away. We are not thinking of expanding the hours, but having a third person in rotation so that we don't have downtime. Yeah, exactly. So to hire all three. And so Officer Burke has recommended the hiring of Bianca Buell and Alex Yagodin for part-time enforcement agents at a rate to be determined by the board. I did not write down
20 per hour.
20 hours. Yes. Thank you. Oh yeah, right there on the agenda. I'll make that motion if there's no discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Yay.
Yay,
Parking enforcement.
It's becoming a reality.
it is. The next item, I'm sad to report, but I am happy for Officer Hipple. Officer Hipple has decided that he has loved his time in the village, that he is ready to retire. And so I'd like to read his very short note into the record. OIC Burke, I am writing to inform you of my decision to resign as police officer with the Cold Spring Village Police Department and conclude my 24-year law enforcement career effective 3/22/24 at 0800 hours. The past 3 years has been a wonderful experience for me. I appreciate the opportunities you've given me to learn and grow, and I value all of the professional relationships I've been able to develop here. I especially note the support you have shown me in organizing the property room and maintaining the new department body-worn cameras. I wish you, the mayor, the village, and this department all the best. Please let me know if there is any way I can assist with this transition. And I thank you all very much for allowing me to work and then conclude my law enforcement career with you. So we will miss you very much, Officer Hipple, and we certainly wish you well, and thank you for getting that evidence room all in order. And all the camera work was fantastic and a great help to the officer in charge. Do we have a motion to accept, Jeff?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Officer Hipple effective immediately.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Definitely so. Okay, the next, is Bugsy, for the last couple of years, has attended the highway school. It's a program of the Cornell Local Roads Program that it's hosted at Ithaca College. It's been a great learning experience for him, and he's brought a lot of skills back, which he then trains the rest of the team with. It's $125 for the registration fee, and then his accommodations at a hotel for 2 days.
Great.
Yeah, I'm glad that he is willing to take the time and the journey to do it.
Yeah, and it brings a lot of resources to us in terms of materials and guidance throughout the year.
Mhm.
So, would someone like to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request by Robert Downey to attend highway school.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next I'm gonna rely on Eliza for, related to the village tree pit cleanup and mulch day.
Right, so in anticipation to Cold Spring in Bloom, the Cold Spring Chambers event that happens on Earth Day every year, the tree board and sort of a tree pit garden committee, loosely formed, that's not an official committee. They clean up the tree pits, they take out all the old leaves, they trim back all the dead growth, and they mulch it. The highway department has said that they have plenty, like, good mulch to provide us with, so we don't have to buy any.
And that comes from dockside cleanup, right?
Cleanups all across the
Yeah,
village.
I mean, anything that is
Yeah.
branches gets chipped and is usable. They organize all of the volunteers. Erin Muir is doing most of the organization. Jen Zwarek designs posters and flyers and things to get volunteers. And the officer in charge said he had no problem with putting cones out to put, we usually dump the mulch on the street in 2 locations, one up towards St. Mary's Lawn and one in front of Village Hall. And it usually takes an afternoon. So they're asking for Tuesday, April 16th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. To do that. So
Fantastic.
we need
I'm-
approval.
I make a motion to approve the spreading of mulch made by our very own roadways and facilities crew by volunteers on our Main Street tree pits.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? One of the things that Bugsy has done in the last 3 years is organize the yard down there. And among his containers are multiple items,
Oh,
and so
great.
he's got a pile going on there.
Wonderful.
Approval of the minutes, 1/24/24. I had no edits that were not addressed.
I sent a late, I'm sorry, Jeff, that I'm always like late in sending edits, but I had a couple that I sent in track changes to
Good
Jeff
job.
this afternoon. It's
Or to
Just-
Sally.
to both.
Okay.
It's up to both.
They're not incorporated into it.
So
Can I modified
as modified as with the
per your email?
Yes. Okay, great. So I make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/24/24 as modified per my email from this afternoon to the clerk.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the last item is to prove that the building is in fact rotting around us. Now, in addition to rats, we have termites. And on the other side of the building, their little wings are dropping all over the place in my office. So it's really awful. It's been a really awful couple of weeks with them. We have a maintenance easement all the way back to the corner of my office. That little area behind my office is owned by Ms. Block, who owns the property next door. She has given permission for us to install the termite baits along that side as well. And so this contract is $525 for the installation and then $275 for the yearly maintenance of them. Any discussion?
Okay, motion to approve the mayor's signing of a contract with JP McHale for a commercial service agreement to extinguish the termite issue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much indeed. All right, back to John
Yep.
and 35. 33, 135.
So I filled out the rest of the form and it just provides information about the property. A lot of it doesn't apply because there's really not much being developed here. We're just, the village is just transferring a small piece of property to the adjoining owner. So there's a couple of questions I'd like to go through with the board, so that
Okay.
way you're hopefully ready to issue a negative declaration under secret. So the first question, and again, I think you guys all understand that this is a transfer of 312 square feet of, I think it's already developed as a stoop, right? So,
Yeah.
Sorry, a porch.
2 stoops.
Yep. so will this proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use plan or zoning regulations within the village?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
We will in fact improve it.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? So those are special environmental areas. I think Marathon is listed. This I don't think is a no, because I don't think it's not a critical environmental area. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy? And it incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
I mean, this element doesn't, but the project it enables
Well,
is,
we're not voting on that.
Right.
Correct. Right
So-
now, you're just talking about the transfer of the land,
nope,
the planning
No.
board is going through their own.
Yep.
Analysis. And again, it doesn't have to be no, it could be a small, it could be no or small. I mean, anything you do kind of has an impact on the environment for the most part. So the idea is whether it's a no or small impact.
So when it says like water supplies, does it impact the water supplies? Like, do you put a dog dish out there? That'll be going away presumably?
That's very small.
I think that would be a no. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
forget.
Right. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources?
No.
No,
And will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage?
no, it's not forget.
And will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or health?
Nope, sturgeon are gonna be fine.
Right, so I think, and this is something where the property owner will probably want to move forward with this regardless of whether they renovate the building or not.
With the sale, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if everything is pretty much checked as no or small, so if somebody wants to make a motion to declare a negative declaration for purposes of secra, then we can include that portion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, so now you can move on to the underlying resolution, which again, just summarizes the sale. Now that you've conducted your secret review, you can act on the underlying sale itself. And again, when you sell property, a couple things that you don't need this property for any municipal purpose, and that you're receiving fair and adequate consideration, which you are, according to the resolution, it's about $1,400.
I'm new, but don't we have to declare ourselves as lead agency or something like that?
Well, there is no other. lead
There's no other,
agency,
so
so
we don't
you
have to
don't
do
have to go through that, but you're right. That is, that is one of the steps in the process.
Okay,
But in this case, there's nobody else.
thank you.
We need to read this into the record, yeah. The
Correct. So go
resolution.
ahead.
Someone has to read it.
I'll read it. Resolution of the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the sale of real property. And
Sure. but
it's
what-
written a little bit differently. The following was presented by me and seconded by
Me.
Mayor. Whereas Chevron LLC, a New York limited liability company, owns property located at 133, 135 Main Street, Cold Spring, New York, has offered to purchase land adjacent to its parcel, which is currently owned by the village, and whereas the subject lands consist of approximately 007 acres and is further described in the description attached as Exhibit A. And whereas the village parcel is primarily a vacant parcel, which the village board has declared as surplus, and it is not needed for any municipal use, as this village parcel is not used for highway purposes and it no longer serves or is used as sewer or water purposes, has no environmental or recreational or parkland component, is not used for the administration of fire or police purposes. And whereas the sale of the village parcel will limit the village's liability exposure and maintenance responsibilities. And whereas Chevron LLC was offered to purchase the village parcel for fair and adequate consideration, which offer price is supported by the assessor's fair market value assigned to the village parcel on the final 2023 tax roll. And whereas the sale price would not be less than $1,450.80 dollars, and whereas the proposed sale of the village parcel is an action subject to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and the village board has determined the sale of this small parcel is an unlisted action for which it will conduct an uncoordinated review. And whereas the village has reviewed and completed a short environmental assessment form pursuant to secret. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that the village board of trustees hereby issues a negative declaration for this proposed action under secret, as it will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. An environmental impact statement is not required, and let it further be resolved that the village board of trustees hereby determines that the sale of the village parcels is in the public interest of the residents of the village. And resolve that the village board hereby authorizes the mayor to execute any and all required agreements and documentation to effectuate the sale of the village parcels, subject to review and approval as to form and content by the attorney for the village.
That's a roll call.
Hey, Foley,
Aye.
trustee Woods,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
trustee Bozy,
Aye.
trustee Furlong.
Just a shout out to, Chair Bowen and River for this work. That's one block of Main Street that really needs some loving, so glad to see it happen. There being no other business, I would make a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Night tweets.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, guys.
This is the one I filled in.
Okay. And then this will